This is a Harper Guys production.
The Harper contains foul language and adult material. If you are easily offended and thin-skinned, you should hit the stop button now. And if you are not a complete idiot, let's get this party started.
Let's get down to brass tacks, gentlemen. If I was informed correctly, the clock is ticking. Is that right, Jimmy?
You know, but good luck arguing that in court. Let me get down to brass tacks.
Listen, let's get down to brass tacks here. How much for the ape?
Jack, let's just cut the crap and get down to brass tacks here.
Are you hating on Neil Diamond?
Holy fuck! Fuck Neil Diamond!
Our dream of deathmatch is going to come to fruition, and my golden ticket is going to pay off. Hoo-ah! Don't you fucking hoo-ah me, motherfucker!
I want the ability to time travel.
Dumb. This is stupid. Welcome to the Hopper, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jake. With me, as always, my co-host, Adam.
That's right!
Boom, welcome. It's so good to be back. You know, first time in the new dungeon. Hope you guys liked a little bit different setup. We're gonna jump on in with the first PSA in about, what, 3 months?
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Wait, you just got kicked off YouTube. Fuck me.
I don't think they're gonna get that confused with anything that was actually fucking recorded, so you're gonna be all right.
Woo! All right, I got my spectacles on so I can read. Let's
Yeah.
go. Welcome to the number one common sense podcast in the world! Let's get ready to mumble. Episode 119. Please visit us at theharperguys.com where you can find our Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube links.
Boom.
You can also listen to us anywhere podcasts are found. Ideas, complaints, or just want to say what's up? Email us at theharperguys@gmail.com.
Boom. There it is.
Man, I want to tell you what. We usually have about 5 spots on these topic lists. I had like 20.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
Because of the delay.
So much going on.
Not even delay, just time off.
Right. Well, we get downtime where we don't get to see each other. We don't get to record. This happens. You know, there's a bajillion things we got to talk about. I mean, shit, we covered a show just setting up, getting the dungeon ready to go again tonight. You know.
Well, let's talk about the dungeon anyways.
Yeah.
A little bit. I want to on air in the world congratulate you.
Thank you
On your recent marriage.
Yes.
And hopefully it's everything you want it to be, and you can ride off into the sunset.
Dude, so far
happily.
so far so good. She is absolutely amazing. The transition has seemed pretty seamless. The boys are absolutely fantastic. I mean, they're 12 and 16. It's been a real smooth progress in here. I mean, like, I started seeing them a lot, obviously, before we were married. It's just like moving in, like, I was a little bit nervous. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like hopefully, like, it doesn't change, like, rifts in, like, their day-to-day schedules and the things like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, it just has felt like super duper seamless. You know what I mean? I couldn't be happier. It's funny, it's like, I feel like in life you have, like, ideas and things that you want in your life, whether it's a job or your extracurriculars, you know what I mean? But, like, your home life has so much to do with what that is. You know what I mean?
You got to have a good foundation.
Right. And I think that...
Or it helps anyways.
Right. A lot of people go through times, even if the exact people in their life don't change, you go through times you're like, man, I just need something different for my home dynamic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. You know what I mean? I mean, hey, like any other household, there's a little bit of crankiness every once in a while for a member of the tribe, but it's fantastic. I couldn't be happier with where I'm at in my life right now. You ever just get those points where you feel like mentally you're just there, like you're at peace and you're genuinely happy with where you're at and what you're doing.
It helps, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mental illness out there, which we will talk about at the end of the show.
Yes, we will.
But anyways, it's good.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you.
I appreciate it, man. It was awesome. I really appreciate you being there.
Absolutely.
I don't know if he's listening to this, and I know I haven't got to tell you this yet. So after the wedding was over, small wedding for all you guys. Sorry, the Hateful Eight weren't all invited to this, but a small wedding, to where like just the closest couple friends, and family. And we posted a bunch of pictures, like people do afterwards. Baglia is pissed off.
Oh no.
Like he is like the one friend that's like super butthurt that he wasn't invited. And it's like I tried to explain it, but like he saw the pictures of you and me and Josh and Mike together, and he was just like he wasn't taking the
Well,
he wasn't taking it.
It makes sense to me. I mean,
Yeah.
but you can only invite so many people.
Well, and I think that like you have certain friends that like no matter what's going to happen, like you and I used to work together every single day, right? And even outside of that, we had other common interests, starting the shows together. We've always had so much that we always have done, the poker league before that, to where it's like we have a friendship that transcends work. A lot of people have
Sure.
work friendships and that's it. And even inside the rest of your life, I feel like you have friends that kind of come and go on some levels. Not that they're not always friends. You know what I mean? If that guy called me right now and was like, hey, I need you. You know what I mean? Like he's the type of friend, he's been there a long time. But like when he just had a baby, some of those kind of things, it's like we never see him. You know what I mean? It's hard for him to be on the super short list. You know what I mean? I don't know. You ever have any problems with friends?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to get into it right yet.
I thought that was topic one.
It is,
I
but
thought,
I
thought I just segued you like a mofo.
You segued that amazingly, but we're going to pause there for a minute.
Okay.
I want to just talk about a couple other things.
Yeah.
First thing was just realizing I don't want to say mortality, but realizing how, at this point in our lives, I know I'm a little older than you, but just feeling it sometimes.
Oh, dude.
And we were talking about it a pinch before while we were setting up. And just the fact that, I didn't put the asshole neighbor part 17 topic. We can always get into that later, maybe even another show.
Yeah.
But long story short, we extended our border fence.
Yeah.
Or what would you call that? Perimeter. It's a perimeter fence is basically what it is.
Yeah.
And my son and I, so it's not a long story, but there's some details that you need to understand. So we're like, okay, we've had enough of this neighbor.
Yeah.
We have a 50-foot, basically a 46-foot fence. We have 52 additional feet to completely block out the sun and just white them out.
Right.
It's a white fence.
Yeah.
Knock, knock, knock. Hint, hint.
I got it.
So the first fence, it was expensive. We had it installed by Lowe's, or they subcontracted, whatever. It was roughly like $1,300. It wasn't cheap, but
No.
we did enough that we thought that's all we needed.
Right.
We could walk in and out of our back doors. They can't. It's just privacy. It's just nice to have.
Right.
So I'm thinking to myself, well, it's been about 6-7 years. I know inflation, all these home improvement things just keep going up.
Sure.
But I'm thinking in my head, $2,600 to finish this 52 feet.
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit longer.
Sure.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So it's $2,500 just for labor.
Damn. No material.
50 foot or $50 a foot. So 50 feet, quickly $2,500.
Damn.
For 52 feet.
And what do the sections come in?
Well, it wouldn't matter what it is.
I'm saying, but like if you're talking like putting in like a 6-foot section, that's going to take you all about 20 or 30 minutes for a crew like that.
Guys that do this every day, this is like they're raking it in. I'm like,
That's what I'm saying.
when we got done, I mean, me and my son were, destroyed because we're not used to doing this type of work. Mm-hmm. But I'm like looking at him like, man, if we did this every day, we'd be good at it and we could make a lot of damn money for a side gig. But anyways, so I was going to do it. It was $900 for materials, and then, so I'm looking, okay, well, Jesus Christ, it's going to be like $3,600. And I'm like, God, at some point you're just like, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to pay for it. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be a motherfucker because we have so many rocks in our ground
Yeah.
around the house. And I'm just like, but then I'm like, man, $3,600. So then I decided to do it. I call Lowe's, green button, let's go. The contractor calls me and says, hey, there's a new law that passed in your area a couple years ago that if you're going to put a perimeter fence up, 2 things have to happen. One, you get a signature from all the surrounding neighbors that the fence borders on. Or 2, you get your property surveyed. So we know exactly where you're putting it. I'm like, well, option 1's off the table because the guy that I'm trying to blot out the sun with, he's never going to sign it.
No way.
Even though he might want the fence, he knows how much surveys cost because he's had it done, and he's going to want me to pay for that.
Right.
A little bit of screws to you, right?
Sure.
So I look into surveys and started $1,000. I'm like, you got to be fucking. So we're talking, if Lowe's does this, $4,600 for 52 feet.
Woo.
No.
No.
I called the contractor. I said, dude, we can't get this. We're going to have to. I mean, it's not happening. Okay, we'll cancel it. I called Lowe's. Need a refund. They refunded me actually fairly quick. I said, but I'm gonna still do this.
Yeah.
So we called around, got a surveyor, guy, like, give us a good deal for a survey for our small little property. $700.
There you go.
Still saved $300.
Mm-hmm.
$900 in materials. So, and we had to pay $75 for a permit, and we had to rent an auger for 2 days. 2 days. Jesus Christ. You would think we could dig 7 holes in 1 day. But what we did was we dug the first hole, we put the whole fence together, we poured the slop in there, the concrete, and put the dirt in there, and that took like an hour and a half. I'm like, I wasn't doing this on my day off. I was doing this after work.
Yeah.
So, we get about 4.5 hours of daylight after 5 o'clock.
Sure.
So we're out there right at 5:10 doing this shit, and it took an hour and a half for the first section after digging. I'm like, so my son looks at me and he goes, listen, Dad, if we have to rent the auger one more day, that's no big deal. We still saved a shit ton of money. We saved $2,300 instead of $2,500. Let's just dig all the fucking holes. I said, well, we got to make sure we measure right because we don't want to fuck that up.
No shit.
So anyways, we measured, it's 8 feet. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't fuck up 8 feet. At least you shouldn't be able to.
Sure.
Anybody with a half a brain. So we took the post 8 feet, spray painted around it, just kept on a line. We had a line run.
Sure.
Got all the marks. Him and I, that night we got 2 more done. And then the next day we did 4. And we pulled out rocks as big as my head. We pulled out rocks this big. I mean, that's why it took so long. We were spud barring the shit out of it. I was telling you that, 48-year-old man, not used to fucking hard labor.
Slinging it.
Whoo!
You ain't 48 yet.
No, I'm going to be 49, bro.
Oh, damn. Are you really?
I'm old, man.
Oh, shit. Next year's going to be party time.
Every year's party time. What are you talking about?
That's true. Every year is party
This
time.
episode is brought to you by Miller High Life.
Right.
Unofficially. So anyways, the cool thing was, though, in all those rocks, one of those rocks, I'm working on it. I'm working on this fucking rock. Like I'm almost, I don't know, losing my mind.
Right.
And I can see it's loose. It's free. Caden, get down in there and get that. It's shoulder deep. He's a trooper, man. He's like going down so far. Comes back up and half his face is just covered in dirt.
Yeah.
And and I just let him go. Like, hey, we're out here working. But he pulls it up and he was really excited because he's a scientist kind of kid, and it's got a big like hole, like a dugout in it.
Yeah.
And he goes, "It's a fossil." He freaked out. It's a fossil. And the neighbor was the 86-year-old neighbor, the cool neighbor, was over there like talking to us, bullshitting while we're working our asses off. Don't you love that, right?
That's always nice of him.
Yeah.
Trying to keep somebody entertained
Yeah,
while you're
Want
dying.
me to hold this light for you? If you want. No, love you, Dale. Anyways, so he's looking at it. They're both looking at it. At this point, I give 2 shits about a fucking fossil.
No shit.
And then, so I'm like, well, so you could tell it was busted in half. I'm like, well, the second half's in there. We got that thing out, and that they had the other half of the fossil, the bump.
Really?
It was like a snailish looking type thing.
Yeah.
And these things are probably billions of years old.
Yeah.
And he's all flipping out. He's like, dude, we can bust this open and get it. He goes, I've seen shows on this shit. I'm just like, well, we haven't yet, but I'm like, that sounds really cool. But anyways, this rock, I swear to God, it was all together.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not like super religious. I believe in God, and but I don't go to church.
Yeah.
But I believe. I'm a believer.
Yeah.
You don't know how many times I'm like, come on, man. How about no rocks this hole?
Right.
We had a couple that were pretty easy, but man, there were some motherfuckers.
Yeah. But it's still badass that you did it. I mean, there's a lot of people in this world, especially these days, there's a lot of men our age that anything like that is like a hard pass.
True. Kudos to my son, though. He's 15 years old. I needed his help.
Yeah.
Needed his help.
Sure.
It was like I was telling you earlier, it was a one-man auger. I don't know what one man. You might have been able to handle it, but me, this is a 2-man auger. So he's on the other side, and we're getting it done. But anyways, yeah, that was a bitch. Boy, day 3, we put the fence together. That neighbor that he was looking at us, he was laughing at us after day 2 because we got a hole done. This is an 8-inch auger, roughly like that.
Big old hole.
But when you're actually digging it and spud barring it, that hole gets to be about almost a foot.
Sure.
And so when we were done with the hole, we just threw a post in it for our safety and other people's safety.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a fucking hole there. You don't just want to leave those holes
Open.
Somebody's going to
No,
break their leg.
of course.
So we stick a post in it, just leans. We get the next one, we stick a post in. So these posts look like, morons.
Yeah.
After day 2, we were happy as hell, though, because we were done with that auger. But, yeah, they were out there laughing at that. Like, oh, look how stupid that looks. Boy, after day 3 was over, they were like, oh, that looks nice.
Right.
But, yeah, we'll get into asshole stories later, maybe next show. But I just wanted to... The whole purpose of that is just, kind of your own mortality and just realizing that, I also realize that I can outwork, and maybe you feel like this, but like the younger generation, they ain't got squat. Now, I know he's only 15. Now, when he's like 25, yeah, it might be a little different.
Sure.
But, the last night, it was 9 o'clock, and I could tell he was burnt. And we had it all done except the one little 6 foot, well, no, they're 8 foot sections, but we had a shorty. So it was 61 inches to complete it. And I'm like, I got this.
Yeah.
You go in a house. I can handle this whole thing. Are you sure? Yes. Get the fuck out of here. He's like, 2 seconds later, pew!
Gone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They just don't have the work ethic because it's not their house. This is really work when you have to help dad.
Well, sure. It's a different generational thing,
Yeah.
This is the
I was probably the same way.
Probably. I don't know. I remember doing a bunch of projects with my dad. Probably none of them to the level that you do. You know what I mean? Like you're a little more Bob Vila than we were. But you're out there till it's done. You know what I mean? And hey, even if he didn't stay for the last little section, for him to go through that, like those kind of things are good for him.
Saved my ass. But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No,
you ain't kidding about feeling your age though. So we're back and settled. You know what I mean? To where today's actually like 2 months that we've been married today.
Yeah.
So. It was a couple weeks ago. I was like, you know what? It's time. Like, it's time to put the party phase, back behind me again to where it's like back off the beer, back to eating good. You know what I mean? So it's like, I got to start going back to the gym, So it's like, my number is like, I always like try to hit 3 miles, right? Holy shit, dude. That first night at 3 miles, I was like, how have I ever done this before? Then you get mad. It's like, how did I get to the point where I can't do this anymore?
Right.
Like how did I become so sedentary with the way that I live my normal life? To where like now it's been a couple weeks. I'm feeling good. Like things are rocking. You know what I mean? To where it's like,
got your standing desk, feeling good?
No, I don't have a standing desk. No, but what I do is a lot of times when I'm on the phone, because like, so my office is upstairs, right? To where it's like I have all my stuff on one wall. I will have to take you up there and show you the deer rack thing that I built before we leave. That's pretty cool. So, but what I'll do is like if I'm on the phone, I get up and there's plenty of room in there for me to walk around. Towards like I'll get 400 or 500 steps on a phone call. Just trying to keep myself moving because you get tired of sitting all day.
Important. It's important to get up. Mm-hmm. For me, I just drink a bunch of coffee, so I'm always running to the fucking bathroom.
Oh yeah,
it's better than nothing. Getting up and taking a leak. I got to go upstairs. I'm in the dungeon at my house, so I got to go up the stairs. Down the hall. But I make lots of points to, take a little 5-minute break, go out on the patio, just catch some sun rays because I get cold in the basement. Just let the sun beat on my feet for like a few minutes and go back to work.
Yeah,
the equivalent of a short smoke break. But you know what? It's sanity one, and it's plus that sedentary rate. You just got to get up.
It's super good for you. It's just I don't know. I think you hit on it. It's a reminder that we are getting a little older. It's like we gotta keep an eye on things a little bit more. You know what I mean?
But I will tell you though.
Tell me.
It also reminds you that you're alive.
Oh yeah.
Even though aches and pains suck, I kind of take this from Joe Rogan. He's talking about going through pains and not taking a lot of pain medicine. He doesn't like to do that because it reminds you that you're alive. You're human. If you never had to deal with anything, any adversity, what the fuck's the point?
Yeah.
There is some cavemanish to, thought process to that. Like, obviously, if you're dealing with like a huge medical issue that you need pain medicine, that's one thing. But
no, Goggins talks about the same thing too, to where like there's been different things in his books where he'll talk about like how he put himself through something, and then when it's over, like he's just miserable, but then he just sits there and like he just wants to feel that. It's like I put myself through something that 99.9% of the people in the world are never going to put themselves through. Like, I need to feel how this feels, you know? And then when I get back here again, when I do this to myself next time, I'm going to remember this. And I'm either going to remember that I feel better, worse, or the same as a result, you know?
You know what just popped in my head is walking out of the woods after sitting in there all day.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes that elevation, you're like, this should be the easiest thing. And I know I got my backpack on and I got a few extra pounds, of gear. But this should not be hard to walk out of this fucking woods. But for some reason, at least me, I don't know how you feel, but I'm like
Yes.
huffing and fucking puffing out of there.
Oh, dude. And I was thinking about that when me and Josh were down a month ago. So we mowed for, I don't know, 6 hours straight. You know what I mean? We got done at the end to where like we're taking Old Red and the new mower back up top. I'm not going to tell you I wasn't tired, but I felt like a machine. You know what I mean? Plowed right up the hill, felt good when I got to the top, and I thought about the same thing. Like, man, why when it's 38 degrees out and you've been sitting in that stand for 5 hours, when you go to walk up that hill, sometimes your body's like, I ain't ready for this, bro.
I don't know.
It's a little different.
It's weird.
Yeah,
It's
it is,
weird.
to say the least.
Yeah.
But we're still young enough. We got to keep going.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of stories to tell.
You ain't kidding.
All right, let's roll into this.
Do it.
Segue.
Yeah.
Well, what was your segue? I totally
Friends.
fucking blew up. So, have you ever tried to lose a friend? Like, I'm not talking about a friend that fucking backstabbed you and you're like, well, fuck this guy. I can't wait to see him next.
Okay.
I'm talking about like,
They didn't do nothing wrong.
well, you might have thought they did something wrong, but it wasn't. I don't know. Because this is not. I could never do this. This is not me like talking to you about our friendship. This is just like.
That'd be a very awkward way to do it. Would be
Like,
live
hey,
while
on
we're
the
recording
show. By the way,
This is the last one, motherfucker.
we're done now. So, the interesting thing is, my wife has gone through this actually twice in the last several years,
Okay.
and there's kind of a phrase for it. It's a cutoff culture. Have you heard of this?
Like where you just kind of cut people out of your life?
Like instantly, like you're almost waiting for them to just do something even remotely, even if it's not bad, just something that's a little bit in the gray area. And you're like, okay, fucker, that's it. And then you just block them on everything, like social media, like that's important. But you block them on all the social media, you block them from your phone, and then you just dead air. And you just sit there wondering, like, what the fuck you did. And you ever seen or heard anything like that?
I mean, is it like a straw that broke the camel's back type situation? Or you just think that like somebody just like is just tired of a friendship?
I don't know.
I'll say this, and maybe this isn't popular, our female listeners, both of them. I think that it's different with men and women.
Probably.
I think that if you take every man that's like us that we know and the wives that they have, I would tell you that 99% of them have more friends than we do. Like the few friends that we keep for forever, it would take an actual catastrophe for us to be like, yeah, we don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I feel like we're also the type of people that's like, if I'm going to cut you out of my life, we're going to have that conversation. Women don't always work like that. Women are much more passive aggressive about those kind of things, where I feel like we're much more direct, at least us. I'm not saying the entire world, but I'm saying on a whole from what my experience is.
Right.
To where it could be something like that. And I feel like sometimes we can get annoyed about something. You know what I mean? One of our friends can do something. You're like, what the fuck? Why the fuck did you do that? You know what I mean? Like, that was fucking shitty. And whether there's a direct apology or not, if the friendship just goes on, most of the time that shit kind of gets thrown away.
Or
you know what I mean?
Swept under the rug.
Right.
Well.
Like my friends aren't perfect. They do dumb shit once in a while. Sometimes if it's bad enough, you might be like, hey, don't fucking do that.
Right.
Oh, my bad. Okay, cool. Like, show's over. Unless you keep doing the same shit over and over again, I feel like sometimes women are more likely to stockpile that shit over years, to where it's like, this small offense was the 38th small offense in the 26 years that we've been friends. Now I'm out.
I think also men will just, most men that I know will just talk about it like, hey. Like I can remember we had the poker league at my house for years.
Yeah.
And I remember we had a new member, I forget his name, was somebody's coworker. And I just remember he was there for a couple poker nights. And I just remember my wife saying, he really acts like he's trying to be way too friendly with me.
Really?
Yeah. And so I paid a little bit more attention a couple of the nights. And I'm just like, all right. So just told whoever brought him, I'm like, yeah, he's not coming here anymore.
Yeah.
So that's just, I mean, I think we just talk about it more.
Yeah.
I don't think we like let it fester.
Yeah. But even that, like that's the type of thing that a guy will end even like if it's a moderate to low friendship in a fucking heartbeat. I mean, I think especially at this age, there is a way that you act and talk to your buddies' wives and girlfriends.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And like you can't ever come close to a line that something can even possibly maybe be misconstrued.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you don't make comments, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like for me, I've known Donna for a long time, right? I get there, I give Donna a hug, you know what I mean? But it's not like the Merv the perv, like, oh, come here, you know what I mean? Like, like you don't act like that with people like that. To where like in a situation like that, I'd do that every time. That wouldn't even be a judgment call. If I didn't like, that's the type of thing. If it happens at the beginning and we're halfway through the poker night and I go upstairs to get a drink of water and hear about it, I'm gonna be like, hey Tommy, get the fuck out of my house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cash your chips in, you're fucking done.
Right.
You know?
No, but like, so I guess I just don't understand the concept. And I guess maybe it's because maybe a lot of this is women related things.
Yeah.
And you know what? A lot of it might have to do with social media because let's be 100% honest.
Yeah.
What is Facebook in all reality? It is turned into, look what I got. Look what I'm eating. Look where I've been. Look who I'm with.
Yes.
So, right?
Yeah.
And so everybody's seeing all this. Look where I'm at. Look where I'm eating. Look where I've been. Look who I'm with. And I think one way or another, we don't have anything any more spectacular than anybody. We may keep a nice house. That's about it. You know, but we have I would say normal values, whatever normal is.
Yeah.
But all of the words I hear about this is like, well, they must be jealous about something, and that could be true. Or maybe something. Maybe they don't like. I just don't know. I don't get it. I don't know how else you can just throw somebody that maybe you've known for 15 years.
Yeah.
Or more, and just be like, no, not anymore.
Like I said, unless again, we have a guy's point of view, right? I think that's about on women. Like I said, with men, like I've had two friends that were long time, 20-year friends that years ago cut them both out, you know, being shady as shit. You know what I mean? Like catching them talking shit about stuff, like trying to make your life harder. Those are the kind of things that I think guys get upset about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to try to get me in trouble, especially if it's something that was completely misconstrued. You know, there's a lot of drama in the world today. And I feel like men, even our age, like are more inclined to participate in it in a way that like maybe past generations didn't nearly as much.
Sure.
You know what I mean? To where I feel like when you pick and choose the friends that are going to stay around, they're the ones that aren't contributing to that in your life.
Yeah. The other thing is, it just hit me.
Yeah.
You know, also a lot of women in the 40s to 50s start going through the change of life.
Sure.
I'm not saying that's what all this is, but there could be a little bit of that dash in there, a pinch in there. I don't know.
Well, like other things in life, you know, it's stereotypical that women are going to lose their minds when they go through it, right? Well, like most things, stereotypes don't come out of thin air.
No.
You know, to where it's like, I think a lot of women's personalities do change to a degree when they go through that. You know what I mean? A lot of times that's coming at the end of their child raising years as well, to where it's like you go through a huge physical change, but then you're also dealing with the fact that you have a huge dynamic change in your home. You know what I mean? Like, I think that, I mean, from what I've seen, like the level of bullshit that women are willing to put up with tends to go way, way downhill after that. I'm not going to tell you that they become more like us. I think that they just become a different version of themselves.
Sure. I would agree with that. The jealousy thing just bothers me because, like, you know, if a couple of these people left our lives because they were jealous of us, what were they fucking jealous of?
Well, but I think again though, that's a perspective thing, right?
No.
To where it's like you can look at somebody that's people that are making $10 million a year and be like, oh my God, I wish I had your house and your car and your boat and your bank account, and you know, I wish I could stay in the big suites when I go to Vegas and that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And there's other people that live a life like that look at a life like yours. It was like, why don't I have a wife that I get along with? That's my best friend, and that we get along and we do stuff together. You know what I mean? Like, I think that jealousy comes in all different forms. And as you get older, I feel like less and less of those things are really about money. I feel like as you get older, it's more about people's position in life and their level of happiness. You know what I mean? Like, they could be jealous that you guys have other friends. I mean, I've dealt with that over the years. I don't know if you've ever dealt with that, like dealt with like a jealous friend, like, why are you hanging out with Jimmy all the time? Why don't we ever hang out? I think that becomes a real thing, especially as you get older,
For sure. I would say so. But I think, I'm thinking though, the cutoff thing would not be a thing without social media. I just really think that adds so much gasoline to these thought processes.
It depends on what's put out there. I think that sometimes people just.
I mean, what would anybody know about you if there wasn't a Facebook? What did people know about you when you were in your 20s and there was no Facebook and you were doing your thing? I mean, how would any of this happen? How would be like, oh, I'm blocking you? What are they blocking you from?
Well, people know what I told them.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, back then, you get together with your friends you haven't seen in a while. Hey, what have you been up to? Well, we went and did this and we went and did that. And this is kind of how things are going at work. And how's mom and dad doing? I mean, I feel like they were more surface level conversations and you didn't have a bajillion pictures to go with everything that, like.
I'm not being his friend. He had steak last night.
Right. But like the Bagley situation, you know what I mean? If we didn't post a bunch of pictures from it, he would never know that there was other people at the wedding that were friends that weren't just immediate family, And like, I don't know, I feel bad. I wish I could have invited everybody, but like I tried to tell him, it's like a lot of my aunts and uncles, all of my aunts and uncles were not invited. You know what I mean? I don't have any grandparents left to invite. You know what I mean? To where it was like literally my siblings, my parents, and a few friends. Like, I don't know if he's going to cut me out for that. If he does, I mean, that's his prerogative. You know what I mean? Not to go too deep into it, but I feel like we're really honest on this show. Like 1 month after the wedding, so 1 month ago today, on June 11th, my brother no call, no showed the wedding. Straight up, didn't come. Remember? I sent him a message. Basically said, hey, I didn't ask much of you. You needed to show up and wear a jacket. Like, I told you you didn't have to give me anything. Like, it wasn't the end of the world. He just didn't show up. I was like, you've been selfish your entire life. This is the straw for me. This is the one that broke the camel's back. I don't have nothing for you, To where I think that at some point, it's okay to do that with people in your life. I feel like when you have people that cause you like constant turmoil in your life, at some point, it's okay to remove people from your life. I don't feel like it always makes you the bad guy.
No, not necessarily.
Right. I mean, I feel like we put up a lot for family.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're a big time family guy. I'm a big time family guy. You know what I mean? Like, if we cut everybody out that ever did anything a little tiny bit wrong, we wouldn't have anybody left in our family.
No.
You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting concept that, like, removing people from your life, But the way I look at it too is if you do, that person had a role, right? Just opens a role for somebody who could be better.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
That's what I got.
That's what I got.
All right. Okay, so we probably talked about this 100 times or so, but our economy, things are still expensive. Gas is, it's hovering in our area around $3.30. Dips down and teases us around $3.03 and then right back up to $3.40. But I noticed something, and I talked about this before, to where I knew it wasn't going to happen, but when everything really initially went sky high, eggs and everything that like you were like noticing went from like 99 cents to like $3.99. Diesel fuel was through the roof, and it got up to like $5.50, almost $6 a gallon. Now I've noticed that it's back down, almost the same price as
regular gas,
unleaded.
Yeah.
So shouldn't that mean our prices on some of these goods that get shipped around should drop?
Probably not.
It should mean they do.
I don't know, because so you're going to have different drivers, right? To where I would have to do some research.
I'm
on this.
Hank. I charge double.
Right. I would have to dive into something like this to see. But like, if a refinery came back online, because there was a couple refinery fires over the last couple of years, if a refinery like came back online and is cranking out millions and millions of gallons again, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, your supply is closer to what your demand is, right? Because supply and demand pushes most of this, right? So when we end up in a time period of scarcity, right, then your supply is down, the demand is higher, prices go through the roof. That is what creates inflation, overall. I'm telling you that's exactly how it works.
I think they can also create inflation when they want to.
Well,
Those people.
So sort of, but like that's where. So this is a whole like this topic could explode into like a 2 podcast show. But you're getting into something that's more along the lines of like price fixing, right? Because in an open and free market economy, which is what we're supposed to have, right? Competition is what dictates the pricing, right? If to get those 12 eggs for the dozen, right? All of a sudden, between the gas it takes to go pick up the feed, the cost that it takes to get the chickens, the cost that it has to get it back, all of the things, the antibiotics, whatever you have to give them, all the things that go into that, all of those things go up.
Sure.
Your cost to procure those eggs go up, right? Most businesses run on a margin percentage, not on a strict flat dollar amount, right? So if they were making 50 cents on a 99 cent before, that's a 50% margin, right? So if it's now costing them $2 to get the same dozen of eggs, in theory, to sell them for $4 makes sense. Now, overall bottom line profits, yes, through the roof, right? But it also, that money that comes in actually has to fuel the next round of the turnover of the inventory, right? So just because this lot costs $2, what if the next one costs $2.40, right? You're buying now the $2.40 stuff with what you got $4 for, which takes that margin back down. Right, that's how free market economy works, and that's where we've been to where this inflation just has gone completely haywire, out of control. One of the things that go ahead, I don't want to dominate.
No.
I don't want to dominate your topic here. One of the things that people are getting really misled on is everybody's like, oh, inflation's slowing. Yes, but it hasn't stopped, right? So if inflation is slowing, you know what that means? If we get to a zero inflation, that means that prices stop going up. That is not deflation. Deflation is what you have to have for prices to start going down.
Sure.
And that's where we're not even close to. So everybody that's trying to defend Bidenomics through this entire thing, that's where the problem is in all this. It's not, inflation is not as high as it was as a percentage, but we're nowhere near even looking at the possibility of going into a deflationary period. And that's what you need for those prices to actually come down. Now, there's other things that go inside of that. I mean, I'm talking more on like the food, the necessities, you know what I mean? The toiletries and stuff that you need to get through your daily life. Those kind of things are where you're going to see deflation, right? You're not going to see it as much, at least right now, in like the housing market, because they've got their own set of problems because they have their own set of drivers. Does that make sense?
Sure. I still think there's some markets that people just put a fucking number on. Because there is no cost for flour, or eggs, or whatever you're doing for your business.
Yeah.
It's just literally, this.
Yes.
And I've decided I can get more for this.
Yeah. Well, and that is the greed and the illusion of choice that comes with private equity firms. We talk about on one of the other shows, I don't know, do we talk about what happened with a lot of the furnace maintenance companies out in Southern California? Right, so you have it's an area just north of Los Angeles, right? It's smaller communities, all suburbs out there, and there were 12 different heating and cooling companies out there. You're gonna live in Southern California. Yes, it's gorgeous. You're still gonna need some cooling, right?
I would think so.
So what you end up happen is this company comes in, they start picking these people off, buy them.
Companies?
One company comes in and just starts buying them all. Right? At one point, they own 9 of the 11, right? So what they do is they come in, they build you a new website. Oh, Jimmy and Sons Heating and Cooling, blah, blah, blah. It looks great, Get on the next website. Oh, Clem and Sons, Heating and Cooling. In business for 66 years, yada, yada, yada. All of a sudden, a service that used to cost $75 now costs $175 because that company now bought and controlled that market. That is the greed that we're dealing with. And it's all these private equity firms that are basically, they pick a segment, they buy it up, and then they jack the prices up. They do that because they make all that extra money. They can sell in part those businesses off because they're still showing wonderful profit. I mean, you're talking huge margin profit. They can sell off to somebody else, take an even more giant pile of money, pick a different segment and go into it. And you see it in all different segments. I mean, what I work in right now, it used to never be like this. And now there's 4 or 5 big players that just keep buying people up. As a result, we've seen it for years, right? That's where it's like, that's not total economy driven on supply and demand, that is control of supply.
Right.
Right. To where it's a mess the way they have it, to where like some of the deregulation that has to happen as part of this, some of the antitrust stuff that has to happen, but antitrust is really only used on like a federal large scale right now, right? Like in-state antitrust is something that needs to be pursued and used a lot more, not allowing single companies to control things that I don't want to call them like they're not like basic human necessities, but like if it's 16 degrees out in the wintertime and your furnace goes out, you're paying that 175, well, whether you can afford it or not.
You have to.
Right, where you should have been paying the 75 plus your parts and whatever else on top of it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the part of the system I think that is broken right now that really needs to be addressed. You know, it's just like the housing market. You know, what you have is you have all the same thing. You have these giant companies that are coming in. They're buying up all this housing, right? What are they doing? They're taking it, they're renting it back to people at what they would be paying and more for a mortgage, right? So what happens? You have these companies come in, they buy these in cash, right? This is what the reserve doesn't tell people when they put these, the housing rates are going up, an extra half point or an extra half point to where now our prime rate right now is what, 4.7 or 4.8? Like that's crazy. I mean, for how high of a percentage of that is for a house loan.
Yeah.
You know why they're doing that? Because there's so much fewer house loans out there. Because of all these companies that are buying these up, they don't have nearly as much money lended out into the free market. So they got to make their margin someplace. We don't want banks to fold, right? So that's what they do. They just keep pushing these numbers up. That's why these numbers aren't coming down right now. So there's actually a measure that's trying to go through, we'll see if it ever gets done, that would stop an LLC from owning a home. And it would stop corporations from owning, like they're allowed to own like a certain percentage of homes, but basically those have to be tied back to executives.
Gotcha. Now, and this number that I'm talking about out of thin air that you're talking about,
Yeah.
it's also like when I was talking about with the fence. 50 feet a foot.
Yeah.
That's just a made-up number.
Right.
Somebody had figured that out.
Yeah.
So, but you think about that in your head. $2,500 for 50 feet. 50 feet isn't that long of a fence in most people's situations.
Right.
If you see a nice property and they want a fence in the backyard, that's probably 50 feet times 3 or 4.
Right. You'd get to 200.
So you're talking $10,000 of labor for a fucking vinyl fence.
Just labor, not materials.
No, and then you're gonna
Plus their materials.
maybe $3,000-$4,000.
So by the time it's all done, you got 15 grand in that fence.
That is fucking bullshit.
That probably should have been about 5.
If you're lucky. Let's get real. I
Right.
mean, come on. It's a fucking fence.
Right.
How much labor should you charge for that?
Right. But what'd you have in your 50 feet on your own? 1,400, 1,300 total?
Altogether, probably about 1,800 with the survey.
Right. With the survey. So the survey's a one-time cost, even if you had the whole property done, which you had to do.
Yeah.
Right. To where you only needed one, to where every foot you add on after that actually has a lower per foot cost.
Right.
Because you do already have the sunk cost that's in there.
Yeah.
Right.
Silly though. When we did the fence the first time, you didn't need that, but
Right.
they changed the law
Right.
because you know why? They're all in cahoots. I know because you know what they do. The building they say you need a survey. The city gives you a list of 10 of them.
Oh yeah.
We know these guys.
Right. It's crazy.
It's funny shit.
Yeah, I hope that we get to start fixing that at some point. Because I'm gonna tell you what. Last thing I'll say on this is, I feel like our generation, most of us, you bought your house young. You know what I mean? I've moved around several times, but like I've gotten equity in houses
Oopsie.
young. You know what I mean? To where it's like, we have the baseline put together to be able to handle that. The next generation doesn't have that option. They get stuck. Do we know? They're just renting.
Well,
You know?
if things continue the way they are, all they'll be available is renting for the most part.
Right. And think about it. When you bought your house, right? Like when you bought your house, what almost overnight, how did your dedication to work go from something that is just who you do and something that's an absolute necessity?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I was never a mouthy employee, but if I was, I wouldn't have been. After that, I'd be like, oh, shut your mouth.
That's what I'm saying.
Just keep this job.
Right. So I feel like that's one of the things, as much as we love to joke about how millennials, they don't work like we did, and Gen Z, boy, they're going to be even worse. Maybe that problem has been created for them in some ways,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you're taking away some of the motivation from them. I don't know. That's how I look at it.
So, do you think this is gonna? I mean, even though whoever gets elected president just can't flip a switch and lower prices on everything, but that's kind of like you hear them talking about lowering taxes, which that's every election.
Yeah.
But they do talk. I had in the little smidgen I did hear the other night. They do talk about lowering things, lowering costs. I think that's going to be they're going to attempt to make that a selling point.
Sure.
Do you think that's no matter who gets elected? Do you think that is going to be something that they're actually going to fixate on and actually work on, or do you think it's just going to just be a bunch of bullshit like normal?
I feel like part of it will be yes. You know what I mean? I think that, again, I do believe that it depends on who gets elected. Some of the initiatives that we're paying for right now, that money's got to keep coming from someplace. I feel like in order to tighten the belt, you got to tighten the belt on what you're spending. You know what I mean? That way you can give the people a little bit of a break. You know what I mean? But I really think it comes down to more the regulation rules, like I'm talking about. Get housing back under control.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, it's hard to take stuff away once people have it. You know what I mean? Imagine if you wake up tomorrow and they changed a bunch of rules on regulation to make home buying more affordable for millennials. That hurts you.
Mm-hmm.
That hurts me. That hurts our parents that are still holding on to houses. That kind of stuff. You know what I mean? To where somebody's going to pay for it one way or the other. It's just a matter of who and when and what those policies are, to where it kind of works out for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. It's going to be a dark and dirty road.
So let's just segue right into the debate.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
Oh yeah, tip to tail. I watched the entire thing.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did watch the early portion to like, I don't know, 3/4 in, and then we went and did something else.
Really?
But I'll tell you what, my take, I'm not completely biased, but my take was that when Trump sounds like an absolute genius when he's talking business, and he's talking what this country needs, and all, because he does know. He does know.
That's his world.
And he that is his world. And then but man, there was some funny parts. I hate to laugh
Oh, there were.
I hate to laugh at Biden. No, I don't. But the fact that that one part where he was just mumbling and then he said something like he was talking to the COVID. And then he just kept going. Wait, no, that's not what I meant. And then he finished, and then Trump looked at him and said, well, I'm not sure what he said there at the end, and I don't think he knew either. Dude, I might have laughed, walked right out of the house laughing.
Right.
But so I know you have a much broader non-comedical take on this.
Yeah.
What does it look like? I mean, I saw all the headlines in the next few days.
Yeah.
Where Biden said he fucked up and
Yeah.
and this and that and whatever. And
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's one of the more interesting things I've ever seen in politics. I mean, yes, I do pay pretty close attention to what's going on with all the bills and the stuff that are going on. It's a very interesting time, to say the least. Like we've talked about this before, the polarization is a level I don't think anybody has ever seen. And every time we think it can't get more polarized, it does. Watching the debate, few short notes on the debate. I thought that them cutting off the microphones, that was a rule that they had made kind of to make sure that Biden had a chance to talk. I think that it helped Trump exponentially, because if you look at like his past ones, he would just talk over people. He'd come across like a bully, like an asshole. You know what I mean? Like somebody else, like Biden last time that they were going through this 4 years ago, he'd be talking about something and Trump just rah, 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 like right over top of him,
Yeah.
This time he didn't have the ability to do that, to where instead of it being, oh, why are you picking on Joe? Like, why don't you even let this guy finish a statement? It's like, holy shit, listen to the end of this guy's fucking statements. But that's what the reaction ended up being, right? I agree that Trump came across great on some of the stuff. I think that, like all politicians, though, that there were multiple times they were asked questions. The fentanyl question was when I was super disappointed in Trump's response, because they were like, what are you going to do with people that are dealing with fentanyl addiction now? And he just kept talking about like how bad Biden's track record was. There's drugs coming across the southern border. I'm like, we know that. But how do we fix the problem that we have now? Because that's where my focus is like, whoever comes in here, whether he stays or we get Trump back, it's like, we need to believe that you're doing the best things for the American people,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
To where it's like, as much as I don't, we're getting to a point where almost everybody knows somebody that's been affected by this, right? To where it's like, those are the kind of things that that are a big deal. You know what I mean? I wish that he would have answered a few of the things like that. I felt like it was I feel like even a coherent Biden would not have won that debate. I think the way it was structured, they made it out like it was against Trump, and it was hugely beneficial to him. The way the entire structure, the entire night went. I'll say this: the moderators were both CNN moderators. I thought this is going to be a fucking disaster, dude. They were really, really, really good. Like, I don't know if you thought the same thing, but it was like they weren't like, here's a softball, we're going to pick on you. Here's a softball, we're going to pick on you. I feel like they were very down the middle. They weren't like, that's not the question we asked. You have 90 seconds left. Please answer this question. They were like, going back to the topic. Oh, no, you going back to the topic, to where, like, to me, that part was refreshing. I still don't believe that we have an unbiased media, but it was nice for at least that night that they got that shit done. Now,
I would agree.
Now, going into the actual, like, where we stand now, I don't know how much control Biden really has. It could be a lot. It could be almost none. I have no idea, because everybody's calling for him to go, and it's interesting to see a lot of people that support him calling for him to go. It's like, well, where have you been the last 3.5 years? Where were you even 3 months ago? Okay. If you're going to say that in 2020, he wasn't like this, you're going to tell me he wasn't like this in January? Like, all of a sudden came out of left field 2 weeks ago, to where I feel like there's other people who have to take responsibility. So what I'm getting at is, I feel like we have this recency effect in America, right? You hear about one of our citizens getting murdered by an illegal immigrant. 2-3 weeks goes by. How many times do you think about that, right? That news cycle just keeps going on, just keeps going on, just keeps going on. I think that if they're going to make a change, they're probably going to do it here in the next month or so. That's going to give you about 2 to 2.5 months running up to the election. I think they're going to try to find somebody that they really, really like, somebody that's got real likability if they do replace him. And it's like, everybody's so tired of Trump and Biden.
So, not to completely interrupt you, but
You're fine.
So you think that they're going to replace him?
That's what I'm saying, but it comes down to how much power he really has. He's steadfast that he's not going anywhere, right? Like, that's his position. I'm not going anywhere. I think that the people that are immediately around him, people that are in his cabinet, his family, I don't think they want him to. I think
You don't think they want him to what?
walk out. I don't think they want him to, hey, I've done my term. I defeated Trump. I did the best thing I could for the Democratic Party. Now the best thing I can do for the Democratic Party is to step aside and let a new leader take over. I'm going to go ahead and enjoy my final years relaxing, knowing that I did the best thing for America. Whether you and I believe that or not, if he took that position, I feel like it would be way better received.
Sure.
Right? At least it would cut. But now he just seems like a crazy, power-hungry old man that's senile. I mean, not to be mean, but like, that's what he seems like. I feel like if it continues the way it is,
Well, he's definitely losing some motor skills. I mean, if your thoughts can't communicate to your mouth, like you're drunk
yeah,
and you're not drunk,
yeah,
I don't know how, everybody's different. Whatever he's going through, we don't know how fast it's progressing, but if it seems like it's progressing quickly, it's just going to get worse.
yeah. But you wonder how much of this he's actually been pulling the strings on, though, anyway. To where I feel like if things stay the way they are, it ain't going to be Reagan-esque, but it's going to be a landslide. Trump is winning in every single swing state right now. You know what I mean? The biggest problem that we have is, I don't know if you've seen this in the last couple of days, the House, right? They put through a bill. They got it passed yesterday. 198 Democrats voted against this thing, saying that you had to have an ID to vote. They're saying that it disenfranchises minorities. Like, how many people that want to vote don't have an ID?
They should all have an ID.
Right. Do you know what the average cost for an ID is in America? It's $11. Some states are as low as $2. The highest state is $25. Think about the number of things you can't buy and you can't do without one. You can't drive without one. You can't buy a beer without one. There's a list. You can't buy a gun without one. There's a list a mile long of things you got to have one for. So it's like, is this the only way that they can try to procure these illegal immigrant votes? To try to do this? And like, it's the shadiest thing. We don't know if it's going to get through the Senate. Most people doubt that it's going to get through the Senate, but if it does, Biden's already said he's going to veto it. So it's like, I don't know. That's the part that makes me nervous. It's like, we can all believe like, hey, the whole country sees this, and whether you like Trump for who he is as a person or not, it feels like a better alternative for right now. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know if this has got to be the cycle for a while, 4 years of this, we have to deal with another 4 years of that, and then we get 4 years of this. You know what I mean? Like, tighten things up. I don't know, but it's crazy. Like, I love, like, I don't have you seen anything be with the George Clooney thing? Mm-mm. Oh, dude. So 3 weeks ago, he was at this huge fundraiser, him and Julia Roberts. They raised like $100 million, some shit like that, right? Crazy amount of money for Biden, right? All of a sudden.
Oh, it was for Biden?
Oh, yeah. All of a sudden yesterday he comes out like, oh, this is border on elder abuse. You need to get out of the way. It's time for you to step down. All the cognitive
Who
decline.
said that?
Clooney. And he was just with him 3 weeks ago. It's like, so you know who Portnoy is from Barstool? Dave Portnoy?
No.
The guy that owns You know anything about Barstool Sports? No. They're ginormous. Like,
I think I've heard the name.
But this guy is like a no bullshit. He is hilarious. The only thing you won't like, he's a huge Michigan guy. But like, he's great. Like, he come out, he's like, where the fuck have you been? Like, what are you even talking about? Like, why do you even think that anybody should be listening to you? It's like, I love it. It's like, I don't know. It's the closest we've seen to a lot of infighting on that side in a long time. They're usually a pretty united front, So I don't know. It's going to be crazy over the next couple of months. I'm planning on spending November 6th in the woods.
What is November 6th?
That's election day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Try
I
to
just
stay
know
away
that
from it.
a lot of people just thought Biden was a bumbling idiot.
Yes. I will say that I don't know if you watched long enough to hear it, though. I don't think anybody in America wants to hear those two talk shit about playing golf. People that are struggling to put food on the table and make ends meet,
I don't think I saw that part.
Yeah. They were talking shit to each other about golf. I'm like, really? No. Now, I will say this. So it was a couple days ago. Trump came out and he was like, hey, he's like, Biden thinks he's as good as I am at golf. I'll give him 10 strokes per side. And if he beats me, I'll donate $1 million to any charity of his choice. Biden's camp came out and was like, oh, he should be focused on creating jobs, not creating problems and not talking trash about golf. And like in my mind, I'm like, no. As Americans, we love a good challenge. Mm-hmm. We love an underdog and we love a fight. Quit talking shit, get in the middle and figure it out. And even if you go in there and you lose, you came out swinging, you fought the good fight and you raised $1 million for something. You know what I'm saying? To where it's like, if we just ran every time we thought we couldn't win something, we wouldn't have got the hockey gold in 1980. You know what I mean? Mike Tyson would have never lost a fight because Buster Douglas wouldn't have believed that he could have pulled it off. I feel like
That's right.
I feel like it's part of the American spirit. Like, we want to see shit like that.
Right.
You're both going to talk a bunch of shit. There's a real easy solution. Get in there and figure it out. It's like two people talking shit about whooping each other's ass. That's a real easy solution to see how that goes.
Just throw down, motherfuckers.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, I wish like they would have some events like that, like make it a little bit more of a challenge, play some fucking bocce, like something,
Get real crazy and get some lawn darts out.
That's what I'm saying,
Watch your toes.
Right. Get the first ladies out there. Let's play a little fucking cornhole. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Harper.
Yeah. I love it, dude. It's the Harper.
It's the Harper.
Yeah. So
all right.
That'll be updated as we go on here.
So, I love the street you live on, and it ties right into this next one. It's time for a championship.
Champion Trail, baby.
So sports.
Are you jacked right now? I mean, like.
So listen, sports. We're going to talk about the recent champion.
Okay.
And the recent number 2.
Man, so close.
Not the Mavs. Not the Cavs. Tribe, they got a chance. But I'll tell you what, as I'm sitting here donning the Cleveland Gray jersey, they got their fucking ass whooped today.
Again?
10-1 by Detroit. But listen.
That's 3 out of 4 they fucking lost?
Yep. So there's a need for starting pitching to, I mean, we have a few guys, but we don't have enough guys. They just sent Tristan McKenzie and Logan Allen back down. Those two guys, well, Tristan wasn't going any more than 4, so that's why they sent him down. Logan Allen just has a high inflated ERA, but he gets a lot of run support, so I don't know why they sent him down. I mean, he's still winning. He was like 8-3 when or 9-3 when they sent him down. Kind of weird. Once again, he's not doing amazing, but he's doing a good enough job to win games. So they brought this guy in that they traded with from San Francisco, I forget what his name is. But anyways, I doubt he'll be on the team tomorrow.
Turd McGee.
He gave up 6, I believe, in a short stint. He averages like 4 innings an outing. I don't even know why they give him a chance. They must have thought that his career stats would magically change here in one foul swoop, but obviously we all know the truth. They did also pick up Matthew Boyd it was a Tiger for a long time.
Yeah.
Now this guy actually had some sub-3 ERAs in his career, in like even as recent as 22.
Yeah.
So he's coming off an injury, but he could, at least he has a track record of decent pitching.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about the Indians are they have a really good defense. They have decent pitching. They have the number 1 bullpen in the league. So there's a lot of foundation pieces there. They just need some solid starting. Now here's the thing, though.
You ain't got to spend the money. You need the guy.
Well, as far as starting pitchers goes, that we lost Bieber, so that's a huge hole. No qualms about that. We have Bybee, who is basically our ace right now. He's a second-year player. Mm-hmm. We had Gavin Williams, who just came back from, he's just started this year.
Yeah.
He had some injury issues. And then you have Ben Lively, who's been this guy that was pitching in Korea. This guy has been lights out, averaging 6+ innings a game, and I think his ERA is around 3. Beautiful. That's all you need. You need a bunch of guys like that. Just clone them if you could. So I don't know what they're going to do with the last 2 spots. They're trying guys out. They're going to end up bringing Tristan and Allen back. They're going to have to if they can't find anybody.
You don't have a choice.
I mean, those guys are I think, maybe aren't the best, but I think they're your best options. Unless they find somebody else.
I think they got to go get a guy, man.
A starting pitcher?
A legit starting pitcher.
Who would you get, though?
I don't even know who's going to be available.
Corbin Burns?
He's Baltimore, though, isn't he?
Probably.
Well, they ain't getting rid of him. No. Baltimore's going to go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
He's their ace. I'm just saying, there's got to be some guys on some of these teams that are not playing well that you can put some money up to bring in. A guy that I would love to see them go with, but they won't, would be go get Snell from the Giants, man. He was hurt most of the first half of the season. He just came back. He's pitched a couple of real good games. He come off a win on a Cy Young. He's actually, I think he's only making 18 or 19 million a year. Very club-friendly contract. You know what I mean? The kind of guy that, he steps into a situation as the man on a winning team. You could have a guy that just lights this on fire for you.
Yeah.
Start throwing 7 hard innings, 2 runs or less ball a game. Then you got something. Because the other thing that we're running into over the last couple weeks is there's a lot of these 0 and 1 run games that are popping up again. Well, and you've been scoring runs all year.
It's not 0 and 1, but they're becoming 1-run games. Like the night before, we shot out with 6 runs. The Tigers just come back. Next thing you know, it's nearly tied. We win the game 9-8. I mean, there's been a lot of those too, where what's going on? The one thing I do see in this regime under Vogt that I did with Tito is because I don't know what the reason is, but it seems like they're only giving these guys a short leash. Like they're at the point of the season where they know they've got a hot commodity. They've got to figure out a few of these wrinkles, iron them out, and they're starting to move guys around. Like, okay, it's time to figure this shit out now.
Yeah.
And I like that. They're not just like, okay, like Arias, for instance, this Gabriel Arias, that they've been holding on to this guy for almost 2 full seasons, like a half a season, a full season, and now this half season. And they finally sent him back down. He's just not doing anything. He started off the season pretty hot, but then, that 320 average just went down and down and down. Now he's barely over the Mendoza line, right? So Tito would have kept that guy around.
Yeah.
But because I think he truly believed the guy's got it.
Yeah.
But they just sent him down yesterday. And, I'm glad to see this stuff. It's starting to be like, because I literally texted Reno, and my stepdad was like, it's time to DFA Arias. The next day, Vogt must have been looking at my text line somehow, because he wasn't DFA'd, but he was optioned.
Yeah.
Columbus. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I hope they get it together. I mean, they're still, 21 or 22 games over 500.
Listen, here's the other thing. As nice it is, as it is being the number one team in the American League, that's not really our MO. I would rather be the second best team in the American League and still get the bye, not be the guys with the target on the back as much. You know, I don't feel like that's a necessity. It's nice. It's a nice thing to have, but flying under the radar, I think, is almost a little bit.
But it ain't happening this year.
Probably not now.
It ain't happening. There's no chance. There's no more radar that you're going to be under this year. The only thing that's going to happen is you fall apart.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a story.
Yeah,
Anything else than that, then we're waiting to see what happens with the playoffs.
The cool thing about this team is,
You played well against the playoff teams, except for the Yankees too.
no, we played well against everybody except our division. Honestly, the
Your
Twins
division's good.
killed the Twins. Few
Yeah.
series.
Oh, Kansas City splitting with you. What the hell was that?
Kansas. Well, it was a rain out, so it was 2-game series. That was a split, and then we played them in a 4-game series, and they beat us 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
Detroit just beat us 3 out of 4, and Detroit shouldn't be really beating us 3 out
No,
of 4.
White Sox won a game against you.
White Sox, I think we split against them.
I think you went 3-1 against them.
Okay, maybe that's what it was. But they no, I think they might have beat us worse than that because they've had our number for some reason. The White Sox,
Maybe earlier, but I'm talking the series that was just like a week and a half
Yeah.
ago. I think you won 3 or 4.
Well, I don't know.
They're not my team, but my team sucks. So I've been following the local team.
I don't know what's going to happen. It's fun to really. I really kind of just pound this into my son's head. Like, enjoy this. We don't get this shit every year, right? This is fun. Encapsulate it all, breathe it in, and just enjoy it because there's going to be 4 or 5 years from now, we're going to have a team that's starts 5-20, and we're going to be like, "Wow, I hate this," So you just never know. And it's fun to have. But I will say on that same vein, we have a lot of young fucking guys that are
Youngest team in baseball,
that
right?
are coming into their own. So depending on how the pitch, and actually we have a few young pitchers as well. So if you really kind of take a step back and look, there is quite a window that they're kind of, they've got. We'll just see how it goes.
Yeah.
They could be good for a long time.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting and I know Antonetti, the GM, is over there. He looks like Bob Uecker because he's like, cheapest payroll, and I'm doing it, right? But
Yeah. It definitely doesn't hurt him getting paid somewhere else if they don't decide to pay him and keep him around.
yeah,
And you got the number 1 pick coming up.
that's going to be interesting. What would you do? I know what you do.
There's 2 guys. There's 2 guys that are 1 and 2 in this draft. It's not even going to be close. And that's the entire discussion. Have you followed any of this
No.
yet?
Well, I saw there was some stud pitcher.
There's a stud pitcher and there is a stud batter. The stud batter won the Gold Spikes, which is like basically the college equivalent of the MVP.
What position?
Outfielder. And he is a yoke. Like this dude, I forget how many home runs he hit, but like his like on base percentage, his slugging percentage, all of that shit was off the absolute fucking charts. Like it was one of those seasons, like it wasn't even close. Nobody had a doubt as to who was going to win this for the season.
Well, because the huge needs is we could use a right fielder. I don't know if this kid plays right field, and then of course, who can't use a starting pitcher, right?
Starting pitchers are hard, man.
Yeah.
Because
But what about this kid from Pittsburgh that just is lighting shit up?
yeah, but okay, so like that's what I'm saying. So like for every time you get a Skenes, you get these guys that are supposed to be the next great thing.
Who is it? Paulie Skeens?
Yeah, and then you get other guys that are like, oh, all the hype in the world's around them, and they just don't come through.
Yeah.
They become average at best.
But you remember back in the day, I mean, at least I do, they was talking about this kid from Vallejo, California. He's a big fucking flame-throwing lefty, CC Sabathia. And he came up and he lit the world on fire.
He was it, man.
So, I mean...
Strasburg, until he started getting hurt,
Yeah.
was incredible.
Yeah, but you wonder how many of those number ones pan out.
Right, but then you get Cliff Lee in like the 87th round that comes in as a 2-time Cy Young Award winner, wins a World Series. Like
turns into Tom Brady.
Right. I don't know if he's quite Tom Brady, but he's pretty damn good.
He's good for a while.
I mean, and for where he came from, what he was supposed to be, you know what I mean? Corey Kluber, same type situation, Another guy wins a Cy Young,
A couple of them, I think.
Was it 1 or 2?
I think 2.
I don't know. I don't know if you guys have the championship team this year. I would love to see this team get hot again. Like actually get hot for a while.
I was talking about that.
go on a 15-8, like a 15-3 run.
This is still theoretically a Tito team, and Tito's teams always get hot in September. But I don't know if Stephen Vogt's team gets hot in September. He's never had a team before, so we'll see.
Didn't he come from Houston though?
No,
He played at Houston, right?
I don't think so.
I think he did. I have to look it up. Pretty sure he did.
He may have played.
I think he played for Houston.
Well, he didn't only play for Houston. He played for Atlanta. He played for Oakland, is where I think he got his big break. I think he was an all-star for Oakland for a couple years.
Yeah.
And I think he moved around a little bit. I don't know if it was
Yeah.
scenery or if it was chasing a chip. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I will tell you, speaking of baseball, I don't know. I don't know. Well, actually, let's stay on this. So you have this as championship time. Do you think that this Tribe team, for all your Cleveland teams, is your best chance to win a championship right now?
good question. It's probably pretty close. I tell you what, it's a good time to be a Cleveland fan. Not necessarily going to win championships, but we have a lot of good teams.
Yeah.
Cavs are good. They just re-signed Donovan Mitchell, so at least he's going to be around. He must not like the head coach because they got rid of the head coach, Bickerstaff. So we'll see what happens there. They're probably going to need another guy.
There ain't much out there.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of room.
Yeah, probably not. But I don't know. Browns are going to be fun. Indians.
It sucks that they have the hardest schedule in the league.
So what? You got to beat people.
Saying like, man.
So what?
Week 1 against Dallas, the 4:00 game of the week.
That's when you want to play Dallas, week 1.
Woo! It's gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be good. I don't know. I tell you what, when this team was in Fuego just a few weeks ago and won 9 games in a row, it just there was something about it. I mean, but that's baseball. I tell my son, baseball can stop on a fucking dime.
Sure.
Your team can be as hot as fuck, and it's like the Twins. They started off, they were trailing in the first couple months, and then they won 12 in a row. Then they went and lost 6 in a row. You just never know.
Yeah. But was it the Yankees had the best record in baseball on June 15th, and since then they have the worst record in baseball. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
It can
with that payroll,
literally stop on a dime.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to teach him all the terminology, and so he understands when I say something.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to enjoy the good times because you can't win all those games.
Yeah, I agree.
If you win 2 out of 3 every series, then you're going to do all right.
Yeah.
And you try to mitigate the bleeding when it's bad.
I agree. I don't think anybody's dying to play the Browns this year. I don't think they look at the Browns the way they used to at all in the scheduling. I think they see this team and they're like, shit.
I would say so. I wouldn't. It ain't the old Browns.
No.
It ain't the Browns, it's the Browns.
Yeah. I hope Batman makes it back, man. The Dark Knight.
He's gonna try to make it week 1. He's gonna try his.
I don't think he makes week 1.
Probably not.
I don't know. Do you ever get on Instagram?
No.
Do you have an Instagram?
No.
I'll have to pull it up and send it to you, dude. He posts very, very, very rarely on there. He posted a picture about 2 weeks ago. First time in months that he's posted a picture. Humongous in like a good way. Just freaking stacked. And you should see the scar on his leg though.
Oh yeah.
Like it's nasty pants. Like I don't know. I'm hoping. To me, that guy's your X factor. That guy's on the field. He changes everything.
It's kind of like the Niners and Debo, right? Is a different team when Debo's on the field.
Yeah, it's 100% true. I will tell you this. I feel like this next season for your Cavs, because apparently they're going to stick with the big 4 again. Like they're not going to change this.
Well, a lot of those guys are young, and they're finally getting to their 3rd and 4th seasons.
They are. But like I will tell you, if this team don't go to the conference finals next year, it looks way different after one more season.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Well, you get these guys on the team, like LeBron's, they control a lot that happens in the background. You don't come on, let's talk about Bronny for a minute. Does Bronny get that deal if his dad isn't a Laker?
No.
Never.
But I will tell you this, I don't know if we actually watched his summer league game. He shot like crap, but like he doesn't look lost out there.
No, I'm not sitting here saying Bronny James isn't going to be a good basketball player. I'm just saying, does he get that deal if his dad isn't LeBron James?
100% not.
No, that's all.
No.
I'm not dogging on Bronny James at all.
Yeah.
See what happens. Why wouldn't I be a little bit interested to see how he does?
think
course.
there's definitely intrigue there.
He's an Akron kid. Come on.
It ain't very often that a great has a son that ends up being great.
Right.
It's very, very, very rare. I mean, we'd have a hard time coming up with a list of 5. I think that would be like great. I mean, if Archie Manning was great and just on bad teams, okay, he would qualify. The Griffies, you know what I'm saying? But like there's just not a lot of them that are sprinkled in that are like that. You know, Prince Fielder was like Cecil Fielder, awesome for a little while, and then it caught up to him. Vlad's boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vlad,
That's a good one.
Yeah, Vlad's
We'll see
different.
about old Maserati Mav. He might be like Daddy a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. I tell you what. I know we got some time before we like get to the football episodes where we're diving into the preseason takes, but I'm gonna tell you what. There's a couple teams in the NFL. That's one of the things I love about the NFL. It changes so much year to year. You know, some of these teams look so much different than they did a year ago.
The Bears.
Oh man, if that kid can come in and play
No,
quarterback,
I'm just saying that team looks different.
right? The feel is different. It's kind of what happened in Cleveland 2 years ago. You know, it's like, whoa, we might not suck. You know?
And that's the goal. Isn't that the like when you've had some bad years?
Oh yeah,
The thing that came out of most people's mouth was 8-8.
right.
Let's just go 8-8, baby.
Right.
Maybe have a crack at the playoffs, but let's just go 8-8.
Right.
I'll be happy.
Right. Let's split with Pittsburgh and Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. We got to beat Green Bay once. You know, that's gonna be the thing, man. Man, it fucking kills me that quarterback is gonna be so good down there again. God.
I'll tell you what, though, as good as he was in the last few games of the season, he looked like dog shit in that playoff game.
He looked at like dog shit the first 8 games of the season too, but they went into Dallas and hung 50 on them or whatever they did.
Yeah.
It looked like the second coming. You know, it's annoying.
I think that's when the game plan works, it works.
Yeah.
It's like the Browns and the Texans.
Yeah, it's true.
It didn't work. It
Yeah.
worked for them.
Yeah, I'll be glad for it to get here though. I'm excited for football.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what else we got. I think we're about done.
What we got here so far?
Oh, best month of the year. What would it be?
Oh, it's unquestioned. It's Jam in July,
Jam in July.
right?
We got some birthdays coming up.
Yeah.
You and me.
Yeah, 9 days apart.
We're gonna go. We're gonna go golfing.
Yeah,
We're talking about where we haven't ironed that out yet.
yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, Jake started a tradition last year. It's a long-lasting tradition.
Here we go, year
We're going
2.
into year 2. What we did last year was we went and played 18 holes with 8 of us, and then we went and back to Jake's place and played some cards, some poker.
Yep.
We're going to try to do that again. I don't know if we're going to have as many people. Maybe not.
We're gonna find out.
And hopefully we have as many people, and then we probably will go play some cards somewhere, one way or another.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
So
What are we doing to celebrate the birthday before then?
going to the Chili Peppers.
Yeah, we are. Can't wait to see the Peppers.
we have-
I've never seen them. Have you?
Yes,
Oh, you have?
a few times.
Oh, dude, I've never seen them. I'm so excited to see them. I hope they're awesome.
They pissed me off. They're one of the few bands.
Oh, no.
Bands that pissed me off one time. No, it was a great show. I think we were up at the Q or the Gun at the time, and great show. But you know when they get you. And Ketis is up there and he's like, all right. He goes, I just want to. I'm talking to Flea right now. Flea, you know, I love you, man. You know, we've been through blah 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 blah. And he goes, but we've been working on this song and we have not played it for anybody, and we're gonna play it for you. And you know, he just keeps going on and on and on. And he goes, all right, here we go. And they cut it off, and they literally play one fucking note, bam, and they just drop everything and run off. I'm like, fuck you.
That was how they ended the show?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think they came back for an encore, but
Yeah.
But I was that for some reason that stuck with me. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody. I was so excited, like we're gonna get to hear a song that you've never played,
Right. First time out.
and bam, I'm like,
That's pretty funny.
you had me,
Right?
fucking got me.
Yeah, that's pretty funny, though. At least if they do that again, we know.
Yeah, I'll be like, no, fuck you,
No.
Nap, you're liars.
Right. As soon as he starts down the road, you'll be like, I've seen this one. You know?
Well, we'll be so far away and drunk they won't be able to hear us.
It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. You know, I will say, only drawback to July. There's one thing. I mean, we got America's birthday.
It's fucking hot.
Your birthday, my birthday. It is what it is. You know what I mean? It's fine. One thing, there's one day in July every year that I hate. Any idea what it is? And I fucking hate it every year. The date moves, if that gives you a clue. It's not the same date every year, but every fucking year in July. I hate this fucking day. Any idea?
The day after 4th of July?
You're close. It's the day after the MLB All-Star Game. It is the worst sports day of the entire calendar year.
Why is that the celebrity softball game?
No, there's nothing. There's literally nothing for one day. The day after the Major League All-Star Game, because the Major League All-Star Game is always on what? A Monday, right?
No.
Tuesday. Whatever the day of the week
I think
is.
it goes.
Or is it Wednesday? And then,
I think it goes Home Run Derby on Tuesday.
Home Run Derby's on Monday.
Okay, well then it's always the day
so
before.
it's Monday, Tuesday, and then that Wednesday. There is nothing in the world of sports, man, unless you're into like
Cricket.
G League soccer. You know what I mean? Like freaking. Like every time I watch this, like you know how we talk about like you see angles in life sometimes. You know what I mean? Dear Uncle Dana, put a card together every year the day afterwards. The entire country would tune in to watch this because there ain't shit going on.
Here's a good question for you. But do you even watch the All-Star Game anymore?
No. I think it sucks.
Then why are you worried about the day after?
Because at least there's something going on that day.
If you had to watch it, you knew it was there.
Yeah, if I need to check it out for a few minutes, it's fine. You know what I mean? Oh, I do want to point something out that we talked about last show.
Oh, by the way, real quick. 5 Cleveland Indian All-Stars.
I know. It's the most you've had since like the Albert Bell days.
That's some Reno messaged me.
think
Says,
right.
this reminds me of the 90s team.
Yeah. So I think it's the most you've had since like 99 or 98, something like that.
All right,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, on the last show, we talked about like how UFC 300 was coming up.
Yeah.
It was fucking awesome. Like just for one of the, I mean, there's been a couple more pay-per-views since then. Things keep rolling on in the world of sports. But just to touch back on that, I built it up and built it up and built it up. Everything I ever wanted it to be. Start to finish, 6 hours of wall-to-wall cage fighting. It was the greatest combat sports spectacle of all time.
Love it. I didn't even watch 1 second.
I know, right? And the good news is Stipe and John are looking like they're about to get back on the calendar here. So one more time, old Uncle Cleveland gonna give it a shot for it.
Really?
Yeah, he's been waiting 3 years for this
Jesus.
fight. It's like, and the cool thing is like, there's a bunch of other guys that want to fight John now, and John's like,
John Jones?
dude, John Jones is the man. He went up to heavyweight, and he is the man.
I thought he retired.
Oh no, he's the man. No, he injured a finger or some
How
shit.
old is he?
John's not that old. 36, something like that. Dude, he was like 9 when he won the UFC championship the first time.
36 isn't young, man.
Yeah, Stipe's like 41.
fighting people.
But I think Stipe's 41. But it's like he hasn't fought in 3 years. But all these other people are calling out John Jones, and there's other fights that he could probably make. I mean, any John Jones fight's going to be huge, you know. And he's like, no. He's like, you think I'm going to take this away from Stipe? Like, you think I'm going to take this away from him? The amount of money that this is going to bring him and his family, you think I'm going to take this from him? You're crazy. It ain't happening.
So he was. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That might be the coolest thing I've heard all day.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm like, you know, that ain't Joe Deli, but it's pretty darn close. You know what I mean? So
Sweet.
that's all I got.
All right.
You got anything else?
No.
All right, let's wrap this son of a bitch up then.
Fucking do it.
Right. Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with us tonight. Hopefully it gave you that little bit of mental break. I know I have to cheat look at my phone because I don't have any paper with me tonight. But if you are struggling and you need a little bit of help, please reach out. Call the National Mental Health Awareness Hotline. Give them a call. There's going to be somebody on the other one to help you out. That's 1-800-662-4357.
That's right. So if you're having bad thoughts about hurting yourself or others, or you just can't kick that substance abuse, call the number.
That's right. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Pip, pip.
Cheerio.